Both the Sooner and the Red River Conference get pretty tight tonight. We're going to look at that. Also, we talked to Alex Ireland. He's the head men's basketball coach, Dalton State, the Roadrunners. We're going to talk RPI and Roadrunner basketball. Cascade Hoops Talk starts right now. Hey, we always start the show with the Attaboys. Congrats to Keenan Jones, Missouri Valley. He was the NAIA Offensive Player of the Week. Congratulations, Keenan. That is a great award that you will cherish the rest of your life. Also, Colin Parker, Columbia Cougars. He was the Defensive Player of the Week. And also to you, Colin, congratulations, and congratulations to the Cougars as well as Missouri Valley. Great performances this week by those players. Hey, just a reminder that this morning the new top 25 comes out. I don't know how much people look at it with the RPI now, but the quickest way to get the new top 25 is go to NAI on X and just keep just keep refreshing it. It'll come up. Hey, let's jump to the Red River Conference. LSU Alexandria was idle tonight, but a couple big games in the conference. Xavier, they defeated LSU Shreveport. And Our Lady of the Lake defeated North American. Both those games were expected to turn out that way, but let's take a look here. LSU Alexandria is still well ahead in the conference, but now look at this. Xavier, Our Lady of the Lake, Texarkana, Southwest, and even down here to Louisiana Christian. All these teams are within a couple games apart, getting pretty tight there. So on Thursday, Southwest, what are they? The 5th place team is taking on Shreveport. Louisiana Christian is taking on 2nd place Xavier. So those are two huge games on Thursday in the Red River. Tonight, Langston defeated Central Christian 73-64. Tight game, but Langston really executed well down the stretch. Mario McKinney, 11 points, 11 rebounds. Give him a lot of credit for the win. He really found ways to get to the rim several times down the stretch and got the scores that the Lions needed. Also, Joshua Smith, he was pretty good inside tonight. Central Christian really had a hard time handling him. They found him several times for some easy buckets. 18 points, 5 rebounds. So Langston now, they go to 16-5, and they're going to host Oklahoma City on Thursday. So if we look here at the conference, I just penciled in with Langston. Look at this. These 5 teams all within a game and a half. And these 4 teams are all within one game. So a game and a half here. So let's look at what's happening on Thursday. John Brown, the 5th place team, is at Mid-America Christian, the tied for 2nd team. And Oklahoma Panhandle, who's been playing really well, they go to Nelson, who is leading the conference, and Wayland Baptist has to go to UNT Dallas. So, I mean, who knows what's going to happen? Both first-place teams Nelson's at home, but they're playing Oklahoma Panhandle. Wayland Baptist has to go on the road. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the Sooner. That's a great race. So keep an eye on those games on Thursday. Dalton State, they played a non-con tonight. They played Voorhees out of the HBCU. Dalton State beat them pretty good, 108-63. Antonio Lewis, 22 points, 5 rebounds. And Quaylen Pettis, 22 points, 16 rebounds. Like I always say, that's a big boy double-double. So Dalton State, they go to 18-2. Let's look at the standings real quick. So Dalton State, I didn't update it, but now they've got they're 12-0 now in league. So that's a little over, right at a 2.5 game lead over Life. So Life is going to play William Carey on Thursday. Middle Georgia is going to play Tennessee Southern. Those are a couple big games on Thursday in the Southern States Conference. Hey, we talked to Alex Ireland. As I said, he's the head men's basketball coach, Dalton State. He's also in that ARC committee down there. And we wanted to talk to him a little bit about that process, but also we wanted to talk Roadrunner basketball. Let's take a listen to Alex Ireland. Cascade Hoops Talk, Billy D. I got Alex Ireland. He's the head men's basketball coach, Dalton State. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you.
You and I were talking before we started, and I know you're on the ARC committee there in the, what is it, the Southeast? What do you call your region? Southeast region?
Southeast ARC, yep.
Southeast ARC. There's a lot of confusion around RPI and ARC rating, so I just wanted to take just a couple minutes and just very simply, in real simple terms, explain what it was. You explained to me the other day the RPI is strictly a mathematical calculation. So what are the things
Correct.
that you mentioned it to me the other day, but what are some of the couple of things that go into that?
So the RPI it's based on your win percentage and a formula involving your opponent's win percentage and your opponent's win percentage. So basically, who are you playing and are you winning? And it's not as specific as like you get more points for beating a good team or more points for beating a team with a good win percentage, but what's the win percentage of your opponents, and then what's your win percentage essentially?
Yeah, so that's and that is a straight calculation. That equation is put against every team in the country. Same equation, right?
Correct. It's 100% mathematical. There's no human error or interpretation in it whatsoever.
And then when there, also the other thing that's tracked is what's called a quad, and a lot of people get confused about that. But basically, the quad is where are your wins. So if you are, blank state, you look at who you've beat, and then depending on where they are in the RPI, they're put in a quad, and whether the win is at home or neutral or away. Am I messing this up? And then they're either a quad 1 down to a quad 4 win or loss.
No, that's correct. Our model is, or the model the NAIA has adopted is a little bit different than, or a little bit of a variation from the NCAA's model, but it's the same idea. And again, it's to give us as much objective data as we can in evaluating, teams. It's part of strength of schedule and it's part of RPI, but then you can look and you can see. So like if you have a team, say take us, for example, 17 wins, how many of your wins are against the best opponents in the country? How many of your wins are against a little bit lower level competition? And then, of those best teams that you play, how do you fare? Are you 3-3? Are you 4-1? Are you 5-1? It's very rare that teams have super high winning percentages against some of those quad ones. I mean, they're tough games, right? You're talking about the top 50 teams in the country, give or take, depending on whether it's home, road, or neutral. And but it's a great way to evaluate teams and how they fare against like teams that will likely be in the tournament, right? It really kind of takes away the old model of scheduling wins and going to the tournament with 20 wins, but what's your record against the best teams on your schedule, and that's a way to kind of quantify that for us.
And just to kind of close the loop, so that quad rating is an extra tool that you use as an ARC to look at it when you're placing teams within the ARC, right? So you have your RPI, and then you look at the quad rating as well.
Correct, and it's also a primary criteria for national tournament selection. So when we're looking at all ARCs, it's something that we'll compare when selecting the field for the national tournament.
Okay, well, I appreciate you taking a couple minutes to go through that. Not the fanciest of subjects, but it's probably one that a lot of people have questions about. So you want to talk some Roadrunner basketball? That's a little better subject. So you guys are having a good season right now as we speak. You're 17-2. You're having a good season. You're on a good roll. I was trying to remember you won.
We're 11-0 in our league, and we've won 15 overall.
So just talk about the Roadrunners and where you are right now.
We have a good group and we're playing well. Quite obviously, this is like we talked about in early December. This is a group that's worked really hard since the spring last year, and starting to see the fruits of some of that hard work stack up. Obviously, like where we are as a team right now, but also understand there's a lot of season left to be played and a lot of work left to be done.
You only start 2 seniors, am I right? And you start 3 juniors.
Correct.
Yeah, so you've got to feel pretty good. You're having a great season. You've got some. You're not gonna. The cupboard's not gonna be bare next year. But you got some guys that are really doing. Putting the ball in the hole. You and I were talking about Matt Compass just before we started. 19 points a game, 5 rebounds. A lot of people aren't familiar with him. He's 6'4". Tell people about Matt Compass.
Matt's a special kid. He originally is from Queens, New York, but moved to Bluebell, Pennsylvania when he was young. He played Division III junior college, Montgomery County Community College, and was about 18 points a game there his
Okay.
sophomore year. Came to Dalton State. We were lucky enough to kind of meet and find each other, and did a little digging on him and was really impressed. But as impressed as I was, I don't think I had an idea of really how good he actually was, or I had no idea he was as good as he actually is. I thought he was a really good player, and he's even far surpassed that. He's such a humble kid. He works hard. He's as good of a leading scorer as you could possibly ask for in terms of being a teammate, being a hard worker, being a humble kid. And just being a really talented guy on top of that, and a great teammate.
Quaylen Pettis as well. He's a junior. He's a redshirt junior. He's averaging 15 points a game, almost 8 rebounds.
He's our leading rebounder as well.
So he's only 6'4". What makes him such a good rebounder?
He plays hard. We have him in a role this year. We played him. We played 2 posts last year and played Q a little bit on the wing. This year, when I looked at our roster, I thought it would really behoove us to play, 3 wings and a guard and 1 post, as opposed to a 2-post system. I just thought that was our best lineup, but rebounding was a little bit of a concern for us. And Quaylen has just, he's had a 13 rebound game. He's had a 15 rebound game, if I'm not mistaken. He's had,
Wow.
3 or 4 double doubles this year. Actually, against Bruton Parker the other day, we broke the school record last Saturday for points in a game. We scored 119, and Q had 19 points, 11 rebounds, and 9 assists. He plays with an energy and a motor and a ferocity that not many people play with. And when you combine that with a really talented player, when you have a player who's really talented and plays really hard at the same time, you have a truly special player and a special young man. And that, I think, is Q in a nutshell. He's a very special human being, and you see that shine through when he plays.
Coach, I want to ask you about your other senior that starts. I might miss his name, but Kowalski Ricks.
Kowalski Ricks.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, wow, I got that one. He's a senior out of Atlanta. He's not your leading scorer, but he is a key piece of your operation there as a senior.
He is. He's a phenomenal point guard, but a phenomenal leader. One of the things that really stuck out to me with we call him Wasky.
That's a little easier.
A little bit easier, yeah. Yeah, you take out a syllable and simplify it a little bit. But he played at Labette Junior College out in Kansas, but he's from Atlanta. He played at Columbia High School here in Atlanta. Well, not here in Atlanta, but an hour south of us in Atlanta. And one of the things that really stuck out when we watched him play is just how good of a passer he is. He's an incredible passer, and he has a gift for it. In addition to probably being the fastest human being I've ever seen in my life, his ability to go end to end on the court is incredible. And so he's done a really good job of learning to combine that speed and causing help and drawing defenses with his passing ability of just kicking the ball up the floor. And he's had several here in the past couple of weeks where he just catches the ball and just throws it. And you have no idea the guy's open until the pass lands in his hand, and you're like, where did that come from?
Wow.
He's thrown some passes like full court, left hand bounce, like passes off the dribble, that just hit a guy in the hands 50 feet away, and you're like, what on earth? And it's kind of coming into his own scoring wise. I mean, he was 6 for 6 the other day, had 15 points against Blue Mountain. Has shot it much better. His shots much improved this year, and that's one of the things we talked about that he brought up wanting to improve upon when he came here from Labette. And he, like both Q and Matt, just an incredible human being. He's such a great young man. He's a phenomenal leader. He's a hard worker. He really is he's part of the group that sets the tone for our team, and his play is catching up to his character and his leadership. But scoring, he's a very capable scorer, even though it's probably not the best thing he does. But there's so many intangible things he does that make our team go. We would absolutely, positively not be where we are without Waski.
Well, that's pretty rewarding to see that from a senior like that, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's why we do it, right? Is to see the growth in these kids as players and as men. And I think, like we talked about with the other guys, their growth as men is being amplified on the court, and you're seeing it in their growth as players. But they've worked so hard. From last year we were 15-13, and this year we have 9 games left, and we have 17 wins already. And it's truly 1,000,000% because of how hard these guys have worked, how humble they've been, how open to coaching they've been, but then how dedicated and relentless they've been in just applying things and getting better and getting up extra shots and working hard. I mean, this group has worked so hard that they can't help but grow and improve.
All those things you just talked about, Coach, are just as important as the athletic ability of when you go out and look for guys and recruit. What do you look at? What do you measure to determine if they're going to fit into that system and have those attributes you just talked about?
There are some things skill wise that we look for in particular positions, and there's some kind of unique things skill wise that we're okay if a guy doesn't have in each position, right? Like a point guard has to be able to do certain things, right. But if he's not great at other things, we're fine. Same thing with our 2, 3, 4. Same thing with our 5s. But the things kind of across the board, two things I look at a ton are physicality. How do you handle physicality? How do you handle, right. Like if you run into a screen, how do you handle it? Do you shy away from it? Do you bump the guy back a little bit? Do you run through it? How do you handle those situations where you're in close proximity to other guys? And then the other thing is activity level. If you don't move very much, you're probably going to struggle at some point in your athletics career. And so guys that are just highly active and play with great energy, we really look for. And skill wise, I think we can be a little bit we can be a little forgiving and maybe take a guy that's not exactly what we're looking for skill wise, or is maybe better at some things and not as good at other things that we prefer. But activity and physicality are two things that we're pretty non-negotiable on, in addition to the things like character and academics and the other boxes that you have to check to be able to play college athletics. But for us, I think those two things are some of the unique aspects that we really emphasize in recruiting.
In that, let's talk Southern States for just a moment. The conference is tough this year. You got teams like Life and William Carey, Middle Georgia. I mean, lot of tough outs. You've got a 2.5 game lead on the field right now. What do you got to do to finish this thing out as you head into this? Boy, you're into the second half now.
Jeez, at the risk of jinxing ourselves, painting ourselves into a corner, man, just win the next one. We're taking it one game at a time. The basketball season ebbs and flows, and
yes, it does.
I think when you start watching standings, when you start playing out scenarios, when you start running what ifs, that's when you start to focus on the things you can't control, and you start to fail to control the things that you can. And so for us, there's so many good teams in our league. There's so many teams, any team in our league can beat any other team on any given night. And so, we're just really trying to focus on winning the next one. I mean, I think we have 5 teams in the top 35 RPI in the country. That's, I mean, a seventh of the top 35 in the country is in our league. In addition to the other really good teams in our arc. So we're not going to look past anybody. We're not going to worry about anything other than the next game on our schedule, and believe that if we do the best we can to win the next game on our schedule, hopefully we'll win more than we lose, and we'll like the position we're in at the end.
Well, Coach, I really appreciate you giving us a few minutes talking a little about how the RPI works, giving fans just a little bit of insight into that, and also talking Roadrunner basketball. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on.
That's Alex Ireland. He's the head men's basketball coach, Dalton State Roadrunners. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Bill.
Hey, thanks a lot to Alex Ireland and also to Dalton State. Really appreciate him taking the time to walk through the RPI. And by the way, I still have that link down under the description, and I'm just going to keep it there. So if you want to get to that link on the NAIA page, or to that RPI page, the link is there in the description of the show on both YouTube and Spotify. Kaiser was in action tonight. This was a non-conference game. They defeated Florida College 76-65. Vince Mitzkowitz, 16 points. That's not right. 13 rebounds. Not 3. Sorry. Vince has never had 3 rebounds in his life. Calvin Sermons, 18 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists. Man, that's active basketball. So they go to the Kaiser goes to 16-4, and they will be taking on New College of Florida Saturday as they get back into Sun Conference action. Central Baptist, they were in a makeup game with Philander Smith tonight. They defeated Philander Smith 89-69. Sage Warbon, big night, 28 points, 2 rebounds. Wade Williams, 16 points, 7 rebounds. So Central Baptist, they go to 17-4, and they will host Missouri Baptist on Saturday. Real quick, this is Central Baptist now is 11-1, so they have 1 full game lead now on William Woods and a game and a half on Columbia. So William Woods will be hosting UHSP Thursday, and Columbia will be at Williams Baptist. It's the at games that I always worry about for a team. So those are the games on Thursday to watch. And the HBCU really there was a couple of games we've already talked about them, some out of conference, but Stillman played Talladega, and Talladega beat them. That was a surprise. Talladega isn't bad. They're 9-5, but it was just a little bit of a surprise that they beat Stillman. So it has thrown this conference just into total turmoil. You can see here, Tougaloo is by percentage points the leader, but anybody could win this conference at this point. So Tougaloo will take on Dillard. That is the first and second place teams in the conference. And that's on Thursday. Well, those are the games tonight. Once again, thanks to Alex Ireland. Join us again tomorrow. Right now, I'm putting together the guest, but we'll have a guest and more. Wednesday night is huge. There are so many games on Wednesday. So anyway, join us again tomorrow. I appreciate everybody who listens, and that's all I got. Thank you very much for supporting our podcast. Please like and subscribe. Get out to your local NAIA school, because NAIA basketball is the best entertainment value in America.